Hey folks, how you doing out there today? Remo back, and we are out on my newest Snowrunner mod map project, which is the Highway Hauling 2 region. Specifically, this map is called South River, which is a place a few hours north of where I live, is where I got the name. Doesn't look anything like the place, intentionally at least. So far had really good feedback on the map with comments and people getting a chance out. We had a super quick console approval, which is nice to have once in a while because we wait pretty long time for some stuff. I know they're busy. I imagine, I've said in other videos, probably a lot less employees doing the SnowRunner stuff now that we're, year 3 of its development. I still really haven't heard much about Season 12 or if that's going to be it. I really question how long this game's going to be supported. It's been pretty awesome to see it still get the focus this many years later. A lot of games are usually kind of one and done after a few updates getting it running well. I've mentioned I really do wonder what's going to go on with the console approval process, if they're going to keep a few people dedicated to that, and for how long. Eventually, I imagine it's not going to be there, but hopefully we'll have a new game by then. Maybe it'll be down to just PC stuff eventually. Who knows? Who knows? So what I've been working on this week, I'm not going to lie to you, I actually finally spent the, hour and a half, 2 hours downloading Starfield, and I've been playing that a little bit just to kind of get a break from the map thing for a couple days. And really I'm at the point where I'm just kind of finding details. I've been doing a few more runs. What you're watching here, we're actually doing the comm tower run, which is going to be delivering some small containers up to a couple antennas. They do have a little buildable animation when you deliver the cargo, so we're just gonna see if this works. I know the task is gonna work, I just haven't checked the model build settings, so if the model adds the way it's supposed to, hopefully everything works well. I know the function I used to set up this mission with 3 different ones didn't used to work properly, but I'm quite positive they've fixed that since then. So we are out in the new, KOT 76 RSK, not sure how we want to pronounce that, but creator of some very good trucks. I'm sure we all have come to enjoy many of them. This is another great one. It's the Mustang 6580, I believe, come out a couple weeks ago. Haven't been out in it yet, but it seemed like it, although I'm not sure with the cab over how we're going to do on some of these uneven trails. I don't even think I've been up this first one, so it'll be a first look for me, see if we have any critiques. I have spent a bit of time fixing up a few things. I haven't seen anything major reported, so I think we're pretty good to go task-wise. I haven't done the task yet. I'm going to soon, or the mission, but the one to deliver the garbage bins to the canning factory should make all the stuff that's laying in the parking lot disappear. That's something I want to check. I'm going to check it in the editor first, but for some reason I don't think I added in the build stage of that stuff disappearing, which would severely hinder completing the rest of the task. That stuff should be out of the way so it looks fixed up. So I got a few more things like that I got to go through. I've added a few more little houses around the map. This, what you're seeing here, is still the same version everyone's playing on right now. I haven't actually repacked all the files and put it in game yet, but a few little touches like that, some QOL, quality of life stuff, like some of the road intersections were a little bumpy. The issue you get when you're building roads is 2 road overlays cannot end in the same little tile of the map. The map split up. It's 84 by 84 tiles. And essentially you can't have two overlays like roads meeting, so you have to build that little section in with a PBR material, paint a material down, which is typically asphalt, or dirt is much easier because it looks just about the same as the road. Now the issue is with the paved roads, there is a flatten setting in the editor. Now flatten doesn't do the miracle you would hope that it basically says it does. What it does is it flattens the road across it, but bumps will still be there. And the biggest issue when two roads meet up like that is you have two flattened roads, so the game engine will flatten them, but the section between the two roads that you have to fill in, that one block, it doesn't have a flattening effect, so it kind of messes with the game a bit, and anyone that's built maps will know what I'm talking about. So there's a few little things like that I've gone around, fixed up a few signs, still adding. Basically every time I go into the editor now, I spend, like, say I'll pick 2 or 3 things and I'll add it to just about every building. So just very slowly I build up more ambience around each building. Seems like less of a chore, and I find just as a map builder it makes me a little more creative to come back at areas, and that's why when I build I jump all over the map. I lay out general areas and then I build here, do a swamp for a bit, go back, build some of the town stuff. It's just a really good way to keep things fresh, I've found, because I mean, like, I don't even know how many hours I have in building maps, but I know that some things feel a bit monotonous, and this is just one way that helps me keep it fresh. I think it gives it a little more original look, and something that any map creator should really consider is to not focus too long on one spot. Keep it fresh. You come up with new ideas. I come up with tasks all the time because I build a farm and I put something in there as ambience and think, wait a second, we can deliver some stuff for this. So really would love to hear any ideas on map 2. As far as the layout, let's say the general premise, we're going to have oil drilling, refinery. Something I wanted to work in was using the season 11 models that we have, so I thought maybe we could do some sort of, I don't know about naming rights, but something to do with like a Discovery Channel reality type show you could kind of cater to for a few things, which would be a few mission ideas and maybe some of the props that they have, the models that can be buildable, is something I was going to look at. My thought on the look of the land, we just came and got this watch point real quick because I couldn't remember where the road was and I didn't notice it, which leads me to believe that I may not have finished this trail. The mud puddles that we're driving through, to me, look extremely plain. I usually put in a bit more around them, and I don't know if anyone else noticed, but there isn't mud tracks. There's mud, but there's no tracks. So I don't think I actually finished up my last pass through this trail, which is something that I am going to get on for the next update. The way things have come back with, like I said, comments earlier, is there's not a whole lot to change. Some fine tuning, a few things like this that I obviously just forgot about, and hopefully this weekend it can be the final update for this single map. Now with map 2, what we're going to do with this specific map is it's not going to change. We're going to have stages that we're going to lose consoles as we add to this region. Basically right now this is going to be the Switch version, because it doesn't seem to be able to handle more than a single map. So this is built for you Switch players right here. It's not going to change this specific map. Once it's updated, that'll be it. What I do is I make a copy of this map and I make significant changes for the region. Now when we get to the 2 map region, it's going to be available for everyone but Switch. The next step that we lose somebody is most likely when I go to 3 maps, we're going to lose the PS5 players, which sucks. Hate losing any of the players, so it's annoying. It's a fine balance now of how many maps to go. I could see this being a full 4-map region, which would mean having a heck of a time getting around this corner. This road is, I can tell, like there was no connection to the other road. I had to drive through the bush. I've never got up and finished this little section either. Just built the unload area, so this will be tweaked a little bit, but I'll leave it tough, kind of like this op camber stuff. Sorry, back to what I was saying before. So we're going to lose PS5 when we go above 2 maps. So essentially what's going to happen is the 2-map region is going to be left the way it is for the PS5 players, and if by some twist of fate maybe Switch could do the region, I don't know. We really don't know much about that whole process. This is a really steep run up to get in here. I quite obviously didn't finish this. Sorry to anyone that struggled up here, but now you've seen me do it too. But this little area needs some work, and it will be done in the next update. So 3rd map is probably going to end up going up the hill, and we're going to do more of a mountainous area. I want to try and work in some cliff edge roads, kind of like the ones in other maps you've seen, but some of these are going to be good passable land. We'll see how it turns out. I'm not going to look too far ahead, but anyways, back to map 2. Basic layout, like I said, refinery, drilling, something to do with the season 11 movie props type stuff. I kind of envision it a bit like the Island Lake map in terms of, like, the biggest difference is you're going to have the main highway that goes through the one side of it. So you have quick access with a whole bunch of just swampland and tougher terrain out the side, which is going to make it for muddy areas a little more than this map. But in the end, I've said it before, I'll say it again, I want to keep these highway Haulin maps very vanilla truck friendly in terms of getting to use every vehicle. Now that doesn't mean that, oh, we right past the road, taking directions like real life for myself here. Now the first highway Haulin series did have some tough terrain. It was a good mix, I found, in the end. I want to achieve a similar difficulty on this, but I gotta say I spend more time than any map that I've played using some of those more like the TransStar and some of the GMCs and stuff. They're a lot of fun on this kind of map. Vanilla trucks in general, they don't seem to get quite as squirrely as some of the mod trucks too. Don't get me wrong, some of them are terrible too. But physics wise, some of them have a real nice high-speed gearbox that you can throw in high and still truck along pretty good, or in automatic and go a bit quicker. Just find some of them, and if anyone has some trucks they really enjoy, mod trucks or vanilla, that handle better on the asphalt, throw them down in the comments for any of the other players, because it's one of those maps that not every truck, like some of the real heavy going mods, don't do well because they just don't have good asphalt physics, and the power, it just makes it ridiculous. You get out in a truck like this, Ranger trucks are another one that does well in these regions because they're not really super fast. They have power, they have a reasonable speed, and that's what it's about. You always want to go faster. The bottom line is with Snowrunner, there's no way you can. The physics just go bonkers and you end up crashing, which is part of the challenge too, but there are better trucks than others in terms of handling on the roads. And this one, we're going to use the highway just like the original highway hauling. It's going to be the way you're going to get through the maps mainly. There will be one side gateway to each map on a back road. I really like that bigger one that takes a bit further to get to, or a shorter one but a much tougher road. I'm going to go with that again. It just seems to work well. Now, one thing I did actually, I was going to mention it earlier, but I figured I'd wait till later on because anyone still watching this is one of my more hardcore followers, and I'd rather ask you, the trailer stores. Is the garage too far away from the first trailer store? I'm thinking solution would be to add a third trailer store at the garage. Highway Haulin isn't about artificial challenge, and I never really thought about it much, but I've seen it in a couple videos. Now that I've played it a few times, it is mildly annoying. My original thought was, well, I left you a big area at that garage so you could come and bring your trailers up there and kind of make it your hub. Don't know how feasible that is after I played for a bit, so would love to know your thoughts on the trailer store. Should I add a third one up by the garage just to make things a little bit more conducive, or do we like it down in town for the realism fact? You're not going to have a trailer store typically right where you start. Yeah, let me know. It's up to you guys if I change it or not, so tell me and I will do the majority rules thing. This road doesn't look like I think I've spent a bit of time. I've been through it once, but I think that's it. It looks a little bit raw. Some of the bumps are a little more abrupt than I usually build them. So would you like me to go through and fudge this road around a little bit more, or do we kind of like how it turned out this way? I did want to leave these little side roads a lot tougher just to kind of balance the spending a lot of time on the highway, and again, picking the right truck. You may want to take something that's a little slower with an off-road gearbox, because the last part of the task is going to be pretty tough if you only had the single low gear and you used highway tires. It really is my reasoning on some of these tougher little trails. Same thing with the mining stuff. A lot of this, keep in mind when we get to the 2-map region, like some of these things you may have to get from the rail yard on the other map, so you may have a fairly long road run that you have to take, or typically I've made the second smaller gateway a dirt road or a really small asphalt road, so you'll have a fair bit of a trip and then you have to finish it off, and that I want to do to try and spur you to use maybe 2 trucks on a mission. I did that. First example would be on the original highway hauling map when you're in Manchester and you have to get those logs out of that great big deep valley that is pretty muddy, almost too muddy. Sorry about that. That one was definitely in my head when I built it, that you would have a Roadrunner truck and maybe bring up a log trailer. You could tag 2 trucks together with a winch, and then you'd have a hauler truck to take it to the lumber mill, and you'd have your really heavy, slow off-road truck that was doing the running up and down out of the valley. That's the kind of stuff I'm thinking of when I'm building these tasks on especially the highway hauling maps. They're a lot more about logistics rather than really tough driving, although there is some tough hauls. The next one, which I'm not going to film, is a pretty long run on that ridgetop trail over towards the middle of the map to get up and deliver this container. So it's longer than I thought it would be. When I took a vehicle up there to check the watch point that was by it, and I was surprised at the length of the drive, so pleasantly surprised. It was a good, kind of fun, tough run. Not getting into any rock crawling, really. I have some of the little loose rocks, but definitely using them with moderation, because I know it gets really annoying when you just label them in. As much, I love to have things moving around in the map, like the sticks, the rocks, that kind of stuff really adds to the feel when you're driving around. Might as well just back this sucker in, do it official. Another thing, would love to know, anyone watching right now, do you want to see more of these tasks be a crane unload? Something that I can do on some tasks, and I know I'd like to work more crane work into map 2, so let's see if this guy works. Beauty. Alright, let me know any stuff I gotta fix before the weekend. Gonna be throwing the update then. We'll talk to y'all again real soon. Thanks.